I've not been able to detach myself from the fact that we have been refusing critically ill patients for the last 4 weeks. There are patients who we know if we don't take them in, they will die elsewhere, but we don't have the capacity to accommodate those patients. What kills us further inside is that there is precious little being done by the government for this. We are increasing the number of quarantine beds, but we are not doing much to increase the intensive care beds, and that's what the patients need. If they don't get into a good ICU, it's signing a death warrant for them. We've had patients who've got admitted with us. We've been talking to their families. For example, ex-member of the family, the patient's brother, for example. 2 days later, we come to know we can't talk to him. 2 days later, that brother we know is now admitted in a government hospital because he didn't get a bed in a private hospital, and before we know it, that person has died. First patient was detected in the last week of March. And since then, it has been a juggle between managing these patients, managing non-COVID patients. So we work as a team, and one of us does the COVID rounds entirely for a week, and the other three manage the non-COVID part. But as now the surge of patients has increased, we sometimes spend 6 hours just seeing the patients, because all the patients in the ICU are critical, and almost all our patients are ventilated. This has been the scenario for the last 3 to 4 weeks. Maybe now I'm working 24 hours a day. You can't be suited up for more than 6 hours because it's not physiologically sound. You can't drink water, you can't use the washroom, you can't eat anything. So it becomes hot and stuffy, and there's a lot of insensible losses with sweating. Often there's a lot of body ache and malaise. The girls are getting marks on their nose because of the nose clips. I mean, with regards to menstrual cycle, those are the days. I mean, I also suffer from a migraine, but there is no option but to work. Biggest fear is not the fear of losing your own life, but the biggest fear is about infecting people around you. So I have 2 little girls aged 6 and 8, and I know that my happiness would be snatched away if I wouldn't be able to come home to them, because I also have elderly parents and in-laws. For the sake of protecting them in case I transmit infection, I started living alone. And I haven't seen my daughters for the last week. And just meeting them on video calls then makes me realize what the pain and agony must be of so many of other residents who have chosen to stay in the hospital. With regards to my parents, my mother-in-law, they're immensely supportive, to the extent that I am spared all my household chores. My husband, he's completely taken over all the responsibilities of both parents. He also motivates me to keep going, and even this separation of the last few days has never allowed him to dissuade me from doing the work that I'm doing. We had a patient in one of the other hospitals where I practice who we had to restrain him physically, and we don't like to do that, because they're human beings, and you would not want to have a human being with his hands tied down to the bed so you can't lift them up. But residents then explained to me that he ran out of the ICU. People were clicking their videos like they were criminals on the road. So I think all that means a lot on them psychologically when they come into the hospital. But you're largely confined to that space and cut off from the outside world, and the human interactions that you have are these people who come in this astronaut kind of gear where you can barely see their eyes. So I think a kind deed and a kind word go a long way. sometimes think we are a horribly hypocritical race, because while you want to go and clap and bang thalis and light diyas, but there is no heartfelt respect for a healthcare worker when you ask their family to leave your building premises. Where in a lockdown do you suppose they will house themselves? Where in a lockdown do you think a healthcare worker with their parents and children will find another home? If a healthcare worker dies, his family gets 50 lakhs. But if the healthcare worker is admitted with COVID, there is absolutely no provision in the Indian government to cover for the cost of medical care. Power us with numbers, to power us with sufficient facilities to run more critical care beds, to provide us with engineering work so that we can convert the rest of our ICUs into negative pressure rooms and we can look after more patients without endangering our lives, to provide us with basic facilities of health insurance, and to please not cut the salaries of the poor municipality doctors who anyways earn a pittance.